Gary, I barely need to ask you a question. How are you feeling off the back of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've used all the words during commentary, really. Atrocious from United, abysmal. I take it you want to hear about United first. It was a disgusting performance. I think that's the word I used at the end. I mean, look, they've not been great this season. They've been inconsistent. But last week at Palace in the first half, there was something. There was a bit of decent football. Now, they didn't score, and you can say, OK, they're not, hitting the net at this moment in time. But what we saw in the first half today, honestly, it was the worst. It was the worst that we've seen under Erik ten Hag. But I just started to think, well, they're just letting them control the game. They're letting them settle into the game. And there is no trigger for when you actually press. I couldn't quite work out how United thought they were going to win the ball back. So then you say, OK, they're not going to press. No problem. They're going to wait. But the problem was when Tottenham then played the ball into midfield, there was no real urgency to get about Kulusevski, Maddison and the others in midfield. So then you're thinking, well, what is the tactic from a defensive point of view? I know you've got back into a mid-press, but it's as if the players then don't know when to trigger a press of the centre-backs or a press into a wide area, or what should happen is when that ball goes into that compact shape of Manchester United's 4-4-2 when they're defending with Xerxes and Fernandes, there should be like landmines going off. Everyone should be just round the ball and you should be at it. So we used to say sometimes you can sit back, but once it goes past your centre forwards, you've got to be aggressive. And there was none of that. So that's just me analysing from a defensive perspective. And Van de Ven just walked through them for that first goal. We'll come on to Tottenham in a minute and how good they were. But the principles of when you play at home is that we've got to start quickly and with authority. We've got to make sure the crowd know that we're up for it. We've got to send a message to the opposition that this game's going to be tough. And I thought this would be a good day for Manchester United. How naive I was. And I think United fans that I spoke to on the way to the game, I saw hundreds of them over there. And basically I'm talking to them and thinking, yeah, I fancy us today. Spurs feel like the right team to play. They give you a chance. They play a high line. Son's not playing. So all of a sudden you're just thinking, well, hang on a minute, this could be a moment today to transform the season. And Peter, that was a nothing. That was really a nothing. And my heart sinks. That was a shocking day all round in terms of idea, in terms of plan, in terms of effort, in terms of everything. And the first half was awful. And I don't know where they go from there because you've got to try, I'm sorry to turn this down, you've got to try and lift a team from that. And that is the depths of a performance, that. And don't get me wrong, I played in games sometimes where we lost 5-0 at United, up at Newcastle, or lost 6-3 at Southampton. So I've played in games where we've lost, but I don't think we've ever lost with that type of lethargic attitude, that type of approach.
So time for Tottenham. For Tottenham, a really, really good day. I mean, weren't they good? Aren't they a good watch?
Brilliant. I love watching them. I've loved Ange Postecoglou since he come to England. Obviously, he's had a little bit of a rough patch the end of last season and the start of this one. It's not been as good as he would like. But you know something? I said it just very last comments of the game was that he's a massive asset to the Premier League. The style of football, his personality, the way in which they play. He hasn't had the backing of some of the other managers at the top clubs in Europe. He's been backed, but not to the level of the other top clubs. And I have to say that they always are a good watch. And that's something to be proud of, I have to be honest with you. And today, not just a good watch, but they've won this game, they've dominated this game, and they absolutely deserved it. I thought the first goal was spectacular. I thought that run from Van de Ven was... I mean, not many things in a football match surprise you because you've seen most of it before. But I don't think I've ever seen a run like that from a centre-back from 60 yards away, driving through the whole pitch. But even the cross at the end was absolutely brilliant. And I actually said brilliant as he actually went past. I don't know if he went past in the end. They've got the bones of a good team, Spurs, but they're just a little bit light just because they haven't got the squad and the sort of depth of everybody else. And yet, they play today. Yeah, Joe, something's interesting. I got this sheet. You get this sheet, don't you? Yeah. And it's interesting sometimes. You just think today, I'm confident about Manchester United. I think I said it to you, actually, in the truck. I looked at the Tottenham team from last week, and I looked at the Manchester United team that played at Palace, and I thought, Tottenham's team is better. I just said it before the game. And sometimes, it's a simple thing. Do you know what I mean? When you just think about, today, Man United, I think are going to win. And I think that, I'm a United fan. But then I looked at the teams that played last week in the respective Premier League fixtures and thought, Tottenham's team, I actually would prefer that than the United one that played at Palace. And that's a worry. £650 million in. You know, Ange Postecoglou's had nothing like that to spend, but they've got a good team. And that's without their best player today. And look, Ange Postecoglou's been asked a few times over the last few, since that interview where he said, I always win a trophy in my second season. I don't think anybody, other than probably Arsenal fans, you know, for me as a United fan, you know, obviously I want United to win trophies, but I want Newcastle to win a trophy. I want Everton to win a trophy. I want Tottenham to win a trophy. I do want those clubs to win trophies if my team doesn't win a trophy. Look, Ange Postecoglou has promised the Spurs fans a trophy, and that's going to likely be obviously a cup competition. And, you know, you're never disappointed if you go into Tottenham Stadium because you know, right, I'm going to watch a good game. I'm going to watch them play the right way. And even today, I was coming here thinking, we're going to get a really good game today. And, you know, the game, obviously, with the sending, we're not mentioning the sending off, have we? We probably should talk about it. But, you know, I suppose usually, ordinarily, you'd make excuses, wouldn't you, if your team went down to 10 men and you thought the sending off was a little bit harsh. But it was that bad before the sending off. That's why I concentrated on it. But yeah, for Spurs today, I thought they were good, and you know, I hope they have a good season. The big story for United today was actually I mean, they may have come back in the second half, but going down to 10 men, it was awful. Awful.